for to be the best Eric Donovan on the 14th of August, and so we haven't went away from that or swayed away from that plan at all. It's just the environment is really good, the organization is spot on, the professionalism here is just really top class, and you know, that has really made things very stress-free and no strain. So that's pretty good, because sometimes when you're preparing for big fights and you're traveling, I would have traveled to Scotland and London to the York Hall as well, boxing on small level shows, and it would have had a lot of kind of disorganization and a little bit of stress with that. But all of that is gone now. This matchroom are running a very professional ship, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and just two quick questions on the dynamics around the fight itself, Eric. You're obviously featherweight champion in Ireland. You're stepping up 4 pounds for super feather. Has that changed much of your approach, both in training camp and in these last few days before the fight?
Not really. I don't think too much about the weight jump or anything like that. I just think about the fight that's in front of me. Like, obviously, featherweight is my preferred weight to campaign at, and I would take any featherweight fights out there. But at 35 years of age, I can't be fussy, you know. So when my manager Mark put this fight to me, I said, Mark, 100% make this fight happen. And ever since I got the news that it was going to happen, I've been buzzing ever since, and I'm feeling really good about this. And the closer it gets to the fight, I'm getting more and more confident in my belief, and there's an absolute conviction there, deep down in me, that I'm going to get the win on the 14th of August.
And last one for me anyway. Ronnie Clark obviously got the victory over Barrett. Barrett highly rated his first fight for Matchroom, so he wanted to make a splash. But do you take any solace from that matchup? Ronnie's obviously a southpaw as well, Eric. You're an esteemed southpaw, big amateur pedigree. Is that any sort of blueprint for you?
Yeah, there's a little bit of, you can take a couple of things from it, like small in terms of blueprint and that. But it's 2.5 years ago as well, and Zelfa Barrett was, I think he was only 25 or something. So it was a massive learning fight for him, and you can't define somebody after one loss in their career. I mean, how many other boxers have lost fights before, you know? But there is a little bit that I can take from it, like but I'm a different fighter than Ronnie Clark, completely different, and I believe I'm a different fighter than any opponent that Zelfa Barrett has ever faced before. So he's going to be, I'm going to ask him a lot of questions that he's never been asked before, and I want to find answers myself for my own questions that I have of my own ability, because it's the biggest fight of my career. But I also think it's the biggest fight of his career. So it's going to be an intriguing battle. And it's one that I'm really, really up for. I'm really pumped for. So I cannot wait for it.
Cheers, Eric.
Thanks, Ronan.
I'll jump in. Eric, I don't know whether Bruce waiting for somebody else. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good, Andy. Yeah, thanks.
Good. All right. This is Andy Purwell for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm now joined by Eric Donovan over Zoom. Eric, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Andy. Thank you for asking, and thanks for having me.
No, mate, appreciate you giving up some time today. I'm sure you're a very busy man today, obviously settling into life in the bubble. How have you found the past 24 hours?
It's been fantastic. It really has, honestly. I mean, the whole situation here, the whole environment is very professional, very well organized, and you know, things are just really stress-free, and all I got to do is just keep my mind right and keep my focus and just keep my weight maintained and just make sure that I'm in the best possible shape come Friday night. So far, so good.
What are you doing to try and keep yourself occupied, you know, without thinking about boxing too much?
Well, there's plenty to do. You know, we were in the gym there this morning, and then, you know, we're going to go for a little walk now. Myself and Kenneth, my coach, we're going to go for a little walk after these interviews. And, you know, between breakfast and lunch, and then talking with family back home and fulfilling media obligations. And the days don't be long about going. Trust me, you don't have too much time to hang around or to dwell on things too much, which is kind of good.
Moving forwards, and obviously onto the reason you're in the bubble this week, you face Zelfa Barrett this coming Friday night. Just talk to me about that. For how long were you negotiating that fight before it was announced, Eric?
Not very long at all. You know, my manager got in touch with me and he said, you know, Eric, there's a good possibility. Well, he actually said there's going to be shows in the UK. And and Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn are going to be running shows in the UK, and they're going to need opponents to fill these cards. And there's a very good possibility that you could be picked because you're a candidate for a lot of these opponents. So be ready. And I said, Mark, you don't worry, I'm ready. I'm already training, because I was training all the way through the lockdown with the hope that something might be around the corner. And I was saying to myself in the back of my mind, hey, so what's the worst that could happen? I could get into good shape. So yeah, I mean, when he called me up and said, look, listen, Zelfa Barrett, when that name was mentioned, I said, yes, absolutely, make it happen. And, you know, ever since then, I've been fine-tuning our training camp and working towards that goal, that challenge that lies in front of us, and we're ready for it now.
The man before me mentioned you're obviously stepping up in weight now to take this fight. Was there kind of a pressure on yourself to take it because you mentioned your age? You've got to try and make the most of your career now, and to ensure that if you was successful come Friday night, then this step up has paid off and it will open up more doors for you?
Yeah, I mean, in life, anyways, regardless of whatever it is, you have to take risks. You know, if you want a big reward, you have to take a risk. So in some ways it is a risk, but the reward for me far outweighs it, like, you know, because like I look at Zelfa Barrett and I'm not overawed, or I don't feel in any way inferior or, you know, not good enough. Like, I look at Zelfa Barrett at his very, very best, and I look at myself at my very best, and I trump him in a lot of areas. So I was like, this is a no-brainer for me. Go in and get yourself a good training camp, get yourself really, really up for this, leave no stone unturned, tick every box. And come the 14th of August, you know, if you can perform to the level that I'm capable of, then there should be no doubt about the outcome of this match. A win for Donovan, 100%.
What should we expect from a pair-view when you are in the ring come Friday night? What are you preparing for in Zelfa?
I'm not prepared. I'm preparing for the best Zelfa Barrett. That's all. I'm not talking about tactics or techniques or styles or anything. I'm just making sure that Eric Donovan is in the best possible shape come Friday night, and that whatever eventuality presents itself to me, I can adapt and overcome. And that's it. That's what a top level boxer will do.
Thank you for your time, Eric. Best of luck in the week and fight night.
Hi, Eric. James here, Pro Boxing Fans. How you doing?
Hi, James. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I just want to take you back a week to, or half a week ago now, Terry Harper, Tasha Jonas. In that fight, a lot of the talk was youth versus experience, and Tasha Jonas put in a very good performance for herself there. Now, you're not far off of her age as well. Now, do you take any more inspiration from that performance from Tasha Jonas going into this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of inspiration for, like, say, senior people or elder athletes doing really well across the board in all sports. I mean, I would have got a lot of inspiration even from the Last Dance, you know, the Michael Jordan documentary as well. But like, there's many other cases and examples. Natasha Jonas is a fine example, actually. She, I thought she delivered a great performance, but I think she'll be kicking herself because she could have actually won that fight and maybe won it a bit simpler. Like, I know there's some people saying she probably did win it, and I gave it to her by a round myself. But I suppose, I think she could have done more and made it absolutely, made the decision no doubt about the outcome. Like, she could have won that a bit easier if she was a bit faster on her feet, stuck to her boxing skills a bit better. When she was sticking to her boxing skills, she was beating Harper hands down. But then she allowed Harper to come in and get her on the ropes and just slug it out with her. And, you know, I think on reflection, she will think that, oh, you know, I might have let that one slip, you know, which is in some way, I don't want to be too harsh because I still thought she won the fight. But I suppose your question, am I inspired by those kind of performances and people at that age? Absolutely. And she's a mother as well. I'm a father. So I know how hard it is, you know, I know how hard it is to be, you know, involved even in, like, to be a success in life, but to be a success in a sport such as boxing, how brutal and how tough and difficult it is. Absolutely.
You mentioned there that you felt she had to make sure that she was winning a round. She had to do that a little bit extra. Is that something that you're going to have to do against Zelfa as technically the away fighter?
Yeah, I mean, like, it goes back to the whole kind of fundamentals of boxing, you know. My job is to hit Zelfa Barrett more times than he hits me and look good doing it. And, you know, if I can negate his strengths and if I can stop him from being successful with his combinations and blows or whatever, then, you know, I should win the fight, you know, because that's how boxing works. You got to beat the other guy more than he beats you, and that's our plan. But we don't only have one plan. We have a number of plans, and, you know, that's what a universal boxer can do. A universal boxer has to be able to fight, box, close distance, middle distance, far distance. You got to be able to do them all. You can't be a one-trick pony in this game.
And final one from me. So far, every week on Fight Camp, there has been a show stealer. Is the fight between yourself and Zelfa Barrett this week's show stealer?
Well, you know, it could be, you know, because, like, I think of all the fights from week 1, 2, and 3, so far, I think this one is probably the closest in terms of, like, it's hard for people to pick a winner. You know, it's kind of like Zelfa Barrett has the youth, and he probably has the professional experience. But I've been I'm a healthy, fresh 35-year-old, and I've the amateur pedigree. I've been in the ring with probably better opposition than, albeit amateur, but better opposition than Zelfa has ever shared the ring with. And I've traveled the world, and I've been in the away corner for, you know, far more times than Zelfa Barrett has. So it's, you know, 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. I think the fans are going to be the real winners here.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Eric.
Thank you.
Hi Eric, it's Steve from Boxing UK.
How are you, Steve?
Hello mate. I watched a documentary on you yesterday, Eric, where you said out of the ring you're like a fish out of water. What's it been like this week? Because you're in a very strange situation.
Yeah, thank God I'm like a fish in water these days. Yeah, I suppose what I was referring to there was, like, you know, dealing with mental health issues and struggles throughout life and overcoming adversity and trying to find my way in life and trying to find purpose and meaning in my life. And thankfully today I have that. And boxing is a very enjoyable experience for me now, albeit very, very tough, but it's something that I choose to do. It's something that I want to do, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. And thank God life is in a much, you know, I'm in a much better place in life and today. Yeah, thanks.
Good man. On your Twitter feed, you said you were very proud to be representing Ireland this week. It's a big week for Irish boxing, isn't it? How much would it mean for you to take that win back home? Not just for yourself, but for the country? Oh,
man, it would be huge. It really would, because a lot of people in Ireland, like, Ireland's such a small country. Everybody knows each other. The whole of Ireland knows me now, I think. And I'm not saying that, like, from a kind of a big-headed type of perspective, but, you know, I do get a lot of attention and a lot of publicity, and because I think a lot of that is down to how open I am about speaking about mental health and addiction and traveling around to all the schools around Ireland. I speak to the secondary school students and I share my story, and I try to give them a little bit of hope and a little bit of inspiration through sharing my story. And I think if I can win here, I can inspire so many people, and that's been my focus right from the very start. The rewards of winning this fight are just incredible, and I dream about them every day.
Great words, mate. Last one. A lot of people are predicting this as fight of the week or potential fight of the week. How do you see it going? What's your breakdown of what's going to happen?
It's a big fight, you know what I mean? It's a really, really big fight. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Like, you know, I always say like this, he's going to be my toughest opponent to date, but I'm going to be his toughest opponent as well. So it's going to be an intriguing battle, you know, and I don't really know I can't really predict what's going to happen in the earlier rounds or the middle rounds or later anything, but all I know is I have to be able to adapt to whatever happens, go in with my best mind frame, I'm already in the best shape of my life physically, because we've had an unbelievable training camp. We got so many rounds of sparring against all different styles, and like, we're really ready for this fight. And over the next few days, it's all about getting the head right, getting the mind right. And so far, I'm in really, really good mental place, in a good space, and I truly believe that I'm going to be victorious on Friday night. But I think it's going to be a serious hurdle to overcome, but I'm so ready for it, and that's going to make it all the sweeter as well.
Good man. Inspirational words. Best of luck at the weekend, mate.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric. That's all for now, mate.
Okay.
Thanks, cheers. Right.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Joe, mate.